Raise your hand if you hate number lines. I'm just going to assume that a lot of you are raising your hands right now because that has been the biggest feedback that I've gotten from different parents in my room and in other rooms that hate number lines. But let me make them easy for you. Number lines kind of correspond with the counting that they're doing, the skip counting, the counting on, the counting back, and I'm going to try to simplify them as much as possible for you. So first, what the kids really work on is that skip counting. They know how to count by ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or they can count backwards, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. They're going one at a time. Or they can do by twos, 2, 4, 6, 8, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Count backwards that way is a little bit more difficult, but that is a skip count of 2. They can also skip count by 5s, 5, 10, 15, 20, or like 33, 38, 42. They can, or 43, sorry. See, I'm not very good at it, but they can do it. They're much better than I am at it. But that's skip counting by 5s. You can do 10s, which is really easy. Skip counting by 10s, 10, 20, 30, 40, or go backwards like 88, 78, 68, and it's that pattern. And then we even get up to, 20s and 100s, but we have to build that understanding first. When they're skip counting, it is very oral because it's listening for those patterns, or they use like a number chart, which is just like a hundreds chart where they can kind of see and match up those patterns. I'm going to show you that in just a second. So I wanted to show you our number chart. What's kind of nice about this hundreds chart, you can also have a thousands chart, is that kids can easily see the patterns when you're counting by 5s, when you're counting by 10s, or even when you're counting by 1s. Because when you're counting by 1s, you're just going up by 1, and then you go to the next row and you keep going. But if you're counting by 10s, you can see that there's 10 numbers in every single line. So then you see the pattern, 1, 11, 21, 31, 41, 51, 61, 71, 81, 91. And you can keep going on different ones. Over here is what we would normally say when we're counting by 10s, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, which is great, but it's kind of nice to also see the other patterns with the other numbers. You can also do the 5s. I've seen some where they have the 0 on this side and they highlight the 5, so 5, 15, 25, 35, or if you're going to keep going, be like 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, and then you can keep going by 5s. Or you say, hey, start at 2, and then you're going to count by 5s. So then you would do 2, 7, 12, 17, 22, 27, and they would get to see that pattern, and they would kind of get to understand that pattern a little easier. You can also use it when you're sequencing and when you're filling in numbers. Like, hey, what's 10 more than 56? Oh, it's 66. Or if you have like 53, 54, 55, a blank, and 57, you know that 56 would fit in there. So the number chart is a really nice way for some kids to kind of see what they've got going on. It goes up by 1s this way, it goes up by 10s this way, and so again, they're able to use that place value and that thinking and that abstract thinking of like, this is how many 10s, this is how many 1s, and this is where it fits in with all of my other numbers. So this is just another way that they can look at numbers. But what I want to show you is how to use the number line in order to support your kids with the skip counting. So when you have a number line, we usually do an open-ended number line here. So we've got the little arrows that kind of show that it's never ending, and then we do a snippet of the number line. A lot of the snippets will start with 0 for what we're using in our grades, and then most of them will show going up by 1s. But that's not set, like that's not the end all be all of number lines. You could have like 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. You can have 0, 3, 6, 9. You can do it any way you want to. But we tend to use the snippets and show, using counting by 1s. When you're counting by 1s, you start at a number and you go up 1 tick and it's a +1. It's a skip count or a count of 1. And then you can do that if you're doing like 0 plus 5 to get the number. Then you do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you see you landed on the 5. So that's how you would get that answer. So that's a way to skip count forward by 1s. And then if you wanted to do the skip counting backwards on a number line, again, you have the number line. Let's go ahead and make it a little bit more complicated, and we'll do it with 25. So this is our snippet that we're pulling out because we can think of the numbers that come before and after each other on a number line. So let's say our subtraction problem is 29, take away 4. So then we know we're starting with 29, and because it's a subtraction problem, we're going backwards on our number line. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, because we know that, if we're going back by ones, then we just need to move 1 tick. And then we know that that's our answer that we got because that's what we landed on, and it's 25. So that's how you would do it with ones, and that's how you would do it with addition and with subtraction. What I want to do next is how you would do it by fives. So, for example, we'll make another little nice number line on here, and we'll make it a little bit more complicated, I think, for the addition. So again, we're going to just keep writing this, and the kids learn how to fill in number lines. They know how to find the missing number. They know how to write, 10 ticks at a time or 20 ticks at a time. I'm just trying to give you the general idea of like how you would skip count. So for example, if we have the number 50 and we wanted to add 8, I don't want to do 8 ticks. That's going to take a little while. I'd rather not do it. So I know, because we did our number tree and we know that numbers are made up of smaller parts, that there's a part with 5 and then the rest of it is 3. And the part of 5 and the part of 3 make the whole of 8. So I can start at 50. I can skip count 5. And so I can either go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then go up 3 more. Or what I can do, and I realized my mistake here because I should have kept going on so that we could see what we've got here, which again, you can make it keep going on, that's fine. And then you end with 58. Another way that kids have learned to do it is not even have any numbers on an open number line, and they start with their number 50. For addition, we try to get them to start with the biggest number. They skip count 5, and then they either use their fingers or they do the counting on strategy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they go 51, 52, 53, 54, 55. Okay, so this is 55, but that's not my answer because I still have a part of 3. Then I do 1, 2, 3, I do 56, 57, 58. Then I'm able to get that answer. So that's how you would use that skip jump of 5, because you still need to use the ones in there too, but you need to do the skip jump of 5. I'm also going to show you another example because I feel like, there's another way you can keep doing this, different ways. So if you have, let's do 100 because we're showing different complicated ones. If we do, let's do 25, okay? So 100 plus 25, and we're just using the skip jumps of 5. So we're going to start with our biggest number, which is 100, and then we're going to go by 5s. So we'll do a 5, and we know that 25 is what we want. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. And we know that these are all plus 5s. We all know these are jumps of 5. So then we go through and we can count on. We have 5 that we're we're doing the skip count. So 100, and we can do 101, 102, 103, 104, 105. Or we can know our pattern. 5 more than 100 is 105. 5 more than 105 is 110. Then it's 115. We hear our pattern. 100, 105, 110, 115, 120, 125. And then we're able to get our answer, which is 125. So that's how you would skip count by 5s using addition. Now for subtraction, it's still going to be very similar, but you'll have something like this. So let's do 10 minus 8. Okay, so we'll start with that. And again, you can have a number line. So then it would be, let's do 1, 2. So we have a full number line. We start at 10, which is our biggest number, and then we know that we're going backwards because it's subtraction. So for us, you want to skip count. We know that it's made up of 5 and 3, so you're going to skip back 5 minus 5, and you know that 10 taken away 5 is 5. And then you go back 1, 2, 3, and you get your answer because you're doing 3, 1 back, and you get 2, which is great. The other way that you can do it, if you don't want to write in all these numbers, because sometimes kids take a really long time to do that, if you're not already having the number line for you, or you're not wanting to write all of the numbers, then you could do an open number line, so 36 minus, let's do 17, okay? So we have our number line. We are doing subtraction, so we don't want to start on this side because then we can't go back any further. So we always tell kids, you know, to make sure you're looking at the sign in order to see what side of your number line you're starting on. So then they're going to write the biggest number, which is 36, and then we look and see. Now, we know that 17 is 1 10 and 7 ones. We know there's 2 5s in 10. We know there's a 5 in 7. So we can say 5, 10, 15, and then we know 16, 17. So we know this is a skip jump back of 5, and we know these are skip jump backs of 1. So then we can do 36 take away 5. Again, you can count back with your fingers like 36, 35, 34, 33, 32, 31. Or you kind of know that 6 take away 5 is 1, and then you're able to still know that the 10s are there for sure. So then again, I would just do the back, so 31, 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21. And again, it follows that pattern, 36, 31, 26, 21. And then you're going back 1, which is 20, and back another, which is 19. That's the one you end on, and that's how you would get the answer for this. With the hundreds, it's the same kind of feeling that you would then do the amount of whatever you're taking away in the 5s and go back. What I want to show you is how to skip count by 10, because that's going to be a big one that you'll see, and it's probably the easiest for the kids to understand. So if I have 10 plus, let's do 12 plus 14 plus 12, okay? Sorry, 14 plus 12. So I'm going to have this here, and again, I'm doing addition. I'm not going to draw out all the numbers. We've gotten that down now. I'm going to start with my biggest number, which is 14. I have one group of 10 and 2 ones, so I can do one jump of 10 and 2 ones, 1, 2. And we do have the kids label because we want to make sure that we're understanding what they're skip counting, what they're adding with. So 10 to 14, we know that now we have 2 10s and 4 ones, so that's 24. And then we add one more is 25, one more is 26. That's the one we landed on, so that's 26. So it's really kind of nice when we're doing the skip counting because they know they're just adding a 10 to the 10 they already have, so it would be 24, would be the next 10 up. So then, when we're doing even bigger numbers, like if we were at 114 and we're adding 53, then again, open number line, the kids can draw that, the kids can handle that. We start with the biggest number, which is 114, and then we're doing 5 10s and 3 ones. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. I kind of am squeezing that in there. And then again, they have to label their skip jumps so that I know, or that they know, you know, what they're adding. And then I'm just going to say plus 1. And we know these are each 1. So then again, we're just adding a 10. So we already have 100, 1 10, and 4 ones. Now we'll have 100, 2 10s and 4 ones. We'll have 100, 3 10s and 4 ones. And then we see the pattern, 114, 124, 134, 144, 154, 164. Then I gotta add 1 to that, which is 165, 166, and then I end on 167, which is our answer. So that would be how you would skip count up with 10s. I'm also going to show you how to use the 10s to skip count back, because again, it's just taking that 10 away, which is really, really nice for our kids. So if we have 33 minus 21, we are going to get, we're going to start on this end because it's subtraction. We're going to start with our biggest number, which is 33. We have 2 10s we're taking away and 1 1. So 1, 2 10s and 1 1, minus 10, minus 10, minus 1. We're taking away a 10. We have 3 10s right now. So now we're going to have 2 10s and 3 1s. Then we're going to have 1 10 and 3 1s. Take away 1, we're going to have 1 10 and 2 1s. And our answer is 12. So it's kind of a nice way to easily kind of take it apart, take it back that way. I'm going to show you kind of a cool trick that we can do for some of those kids that think about it a little bit more complicated. Don't worry if your child doesn't do this. This is just a way that some kids are able to rationalize it and move it back and forth. You can manipulate the number line like that. So let's do 54 minus 20. Let's do 29. So we have, starting with 54, we're taking away 2 tenths, but 9 is really close to 10. So instead of just taking away 2 tenths, your child could take away another 10, but you have to add 1. So this is another way that some kids will think. They know that they're coming back and adding 1 because they're not taking away the full 10, they're only taking away 9. So then you would get the 44 because there's down by 10, another down by another 10, and then you would do 24 here, but then you'd add 1, you'd get 25, and you would still get that answer. So again, kind of a different way of thinking about it, but it's a way that sometimes makes sense for kids because their brain either moves forward or then they can visually see the backwards and they know what they're taking away because they're labeling their line and they're able to do the linear thinking, which is very comfortable for a lot of these kids. The last thing that I wanted to show you is the hundreds, adding my hundreds or taking away hundreds. Again, this is like the tens. It's an easy way for kids to see it. So if we have 15 plus 100, then we're going to start, instead of starting with 100, which actually you could still start with 100, but for our purposes, I didn't think this one through as well, but for our purposes, we're going to just skip by the 100. If you skip count by 100, so you pretty much are adding 1 to the hundreds place, then you would get 115. But it's showing me that they're skip counting by 100. Now I'm going to do it the way that really we're working on it in class with our second graders. So let's say we have 215 plus 100. So again, we start with the bigger number, 215. We skip jump by 100, which just means we're adding 100 to the hundreds place. So then we get 315. If you would like to, you can make it a little bit more complicated for your little angels. And what you could do is you could say 215 plus, let's make this a little more fun, 123. Let's say that, okay? So 215 plus 123. And you would start with 215, that's our biggest number. Skip jump by 100, because that's 100. You would skip jump by 2 tens, 1, 2. Make sure you label it so you know. And you would do 3 more, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 1, okay? So you add 100 to 215, so that'd be 315. You do 10 more to this, so then it would be 325. Then 10 more, you add another 10, so it'd be 335. Then it'd be 336, 337, 338. And you would get your number. So it seems a little bit more complicated. It really is just using the place value, showing it linearly, I think that's a word, and being able to show their thinking. So I know that they've got the right amount of tens, they've got the right amount of ones, they're able then to do their own jumps. Some kids don't want to do that jump of 100. Some kids will sit and do 10 jumps of 10 plus 2 more jumps of 10 plus 3. And that's fine. If that's the way they think, that's the way they think. We are trying to teach them more efficient strategies so that they can show that 10 tens is 100. But sometimes the kids need that scaffolding in order for it to make sense in their brain. So that's how we use number lines in our class for addition and subtraction. But it's just a way for kids to understand how to think forwards and backwards and be able to use skip counting then as another tool in order to be successful on the number line.